Hey everyone, let's talk about Cartier. Ever wonder what makes their designs so iconic, so legendary? We're going to dive into how they managed to take the most unexpected, everyday things and transform them into these objects of pure, absolute desire.
Think about it. How does that even happen? It almost sounds impossible, right? But that's exactly the magic we're going to unpack today. We're talking about the incredible alchemy that's really at the heart of the Cartier brand.
And really, this is the secret sauce. It doesn't matter if they're looking at a piece of hardware, a wild animal, or even a feeling. Cartier just has this unbelievable knack for boiling it all down to its very essence and then turning that into something instantly recognizable, something timeless.
All right, so here's the plan. First, we'll look at their rebellious, hardware-inspired stuff. Then, we'll get into their famous animal-inspired pieces. After that, we'll explore how they turn feelings into form. And finally, we'll tie it all together with the Cartier legacy. All right, let's jump right in. This first section is all about how the mundane becomes magnificent. This is where Cartier basically proves that you can find inspiration absolutely anywhere, even in a toolbox.
Okay, the love bracelet. It's the perfect place to start. When this came out in 1969, it was totally revolutionary. It wasn't just another bracelet. It was this symbol of unbreakable love that you physically locked onto your wrist. And get this, at first Cartier would only sell them to couples. They even gifted them to huge celebrity pairs like Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton to really launch this powerful new idea of modern love.
And then, just 2 years later, the same designer, Aldo Sapullo, does it again. This time he takes a simple bent nail and turns it into the Juste un clou. It was so punk, so chic, it completely captured that rebellious vibe of the early 70s and turned a symbol of, construction into this incredible statement of freedom.
And this is what's so incredible, right? You have one designer, Aldo Sapullo, who in just 2 years creates two of the most enduring symbols in jewelry history, from completely opposite ideas. One is all about eternal commitment, the other is about total, defiant freedom. It's just a fascinating paradox, and it shows his genius.
Okay, so we've seen the industrial. Now let's shift gears and go from the manufactured to the instinctual. Because Cartier's ability to capture the raw, untamed spirit of the animal kingdom, well, it's nothing short of legendary.
So the Panthère, it actually first showed up way back in 1914, just as a subtle pattern on a watch, but it was flat, just a two-dimensional idea. That is, until one visionary designer came along and saw its potential to literally leap off the page and become something fierce, elegant, and totally three-dimensional.
And that designer was the one and only Jeanne Toussaint. She was so fierce and independent herself that her nickname was actually La Panthère. It fits, right? She poured all of that energy into her work. And her most famous client? None other than Wallis Simpson, the Duchess of Windsor, a woman whose style and jewelry were almost as famous as her history-making romance.
So, just how powerful is this icon? Well, in 2010, one of the Duchess's Panthera bracelets went up for auction, and it sold for a jaw-dropping £4.5 million. That set a world record. And it's proof that this isn't just about the diamonds and onyx, it's about the cultural power and the timeless appeal of the design itself.
Okay, for our next section, we're looking at maybe the biggest challenge of all. How does Cartier tackle abstract ideas? How do you take something as complex and as powerful as love, or loyalty, or friendship, and somehow turn it into a physical, tangible object you can wear?
Well, the answer really started to take shape way back in 1924 with the Trinity ring. And what's wild is that during the peak of the super flamboyant Art Deco era, this ring was a total masterpiece of minimalism. It was so sleek, so modern, and it held this secret code within its 3 simple interlocking bands. And here's that secret code. Each band tells part of a story. You've got rose gold for romantic love, yellow gold for fidelity and loyalty, and white gold for enduring friendship. They all move freely, they have their own space, but they can never, ever be separated. It's just the perfect physical metaphor for a complete, lasting relationship.
Of course, you can't talk about love without talking about diamonds. And yeah, Cartier has always been a master with gemstones, but there was one particular ring that took the whole idea of a diamond engagement ring and just launched it into the stratosphere, turning it into a real-life fairy tale.
And that ring, of course, belonged to Grace Kelly, Hollywood royalty who became actual royalty. The engagement ring she got from Prince Rainier of Monaco had this absolutely enormous, breathtaking 10.47-carat diamond at its center. I mean, wow. She wore it for the rest of her life, and that ring forever cemented Cartier's role in the story of epic, timeless romance.
You know, when you look at this timeline, it's really something else. The Trinity ring in 24, the Panthère in 35, the Love bracelet in 69, these aren't just passing trends. We're talking about designs created decades apart, yet every single one of them feels just as modern and just as desirable today. It's the ultimate proof of design that truly lasts.
So this table basically sums up the whole magic trick, right? It's the Cartier formula. You can see the alchemy right here. It doesn't matter if the inspiration is hardware, an animal, an abstract idea, or a flawless gemstone. Cartier boils it down to one single, powerful core concept that just connects with people, generation after generation.
Okay, so let's wrap this all up. Let's bring it all home and really talk about what this means. What is the true, enduring legacy of Cartier's design philosophy?
When you get right down to it, this is the real magic of Cartier. The value isn't just about the gold or the carats. It's about the story. It's the idea of a love that's locked down, a spirit that's rebellious, an inner animal that's fierce. That is what we're all buying into. Cartier doesn't just sell jewelry. It sells incredibly powerful symbols.
And that brings us to one last thing to think about. I mean, if a simple nail and a set of screws could become global icons, what's next? Just look around you right now. What's an ordinary object that you take for granted today that might have the symbolic power to become a treasured luxury icon 100 years from now? Thinking like that, well, that's the Cartier way of seeing the world.